So welcome everybody on the Bitrefill YouTube channel. Here I have with me Paco de la India doing his Mexican tour. I'm really happy he came and to visit Mexico and do this tour with us. So how do you feel so far about Mexico, Paco?
Bro, it feels good, man. The food is really good. So thank you so much for inviting me, and thank you so much for making this journey possible, because if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be able to move around so freely. So thank you so much.
Yeah, so those who don't know, Bitrefill has been supporting the project of Paco that we're going to go into details more because we believe it's fantastic that you're testing the real adoption all over the world of Bitcoin and being on the ground and seeing what's the truth, what's only Twitter talk and LARPing. But you know the truth by visiting so many communities.
Yeah.
And I wanted to start with a hard question.
Yes.
Can you tell in order all the countries you have been visited so far using Bitcoin, or you need to remember?
I started from India, UAE, Thailand, Cambodia, Singapore, Sri Lanka, Qatar. And then it was Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, Tanzania, Malawi, Mozambique, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Botswana, Nigeria, Cameroon, Central Africa, South Sudan, Ethiopia, and then El Salvador, Senegal, Ghana, South Africa, Brazil, Costa Rica, Mexico.
Wow. Just to be clear, this was not scripted, so all the questions are on the fly, and I didn't send the questions to Paco before, so you have a really good memory. So what made you start the journey? Like really, what was the goal? How did you discover Bitcoin? And what motivated you to just go and leave your home country and visit so many?
It was August 21, and my business had flopped, and I was going to shut down my house. I did not have money to pay for the rent, and I was talking to my friend like, I will just go become a farmer and learn what is the green world. That night, it was a full moon night, and my friend gives me a call and he says, Paco, do you want to travel the world? And I'm like, yeah, who doesn't want to travel? He's like, but you have to travel on Bitcoin. And I was like, I don't know, what is Bitcoin? And he's like, I'm giving you a book called The Bitcoin Standard by Saifuddin Amos. So thank you, bro. Thanks to that book, my mind just exploded. I am from India, and the gold standard is where everybody lives in India. But our country doesn't follow it either. So I was just like, this is all a lie. And I was like, let's see, how can we use Bitcoin? And I started to go on Google to figure it out. And I was like, okay, you can buy flights, you can buy things. And I came across Bitrefill accordingly. I was like, okay, we can move around. And I'm like, how will we get the money? And my friend said it will be crowdfunded by the community. And I was like, is it possible? And we started the journey. I sold my furniture. I got $200. And on the first meetup, somebody gave me $200. And the second meetup, somebody gave me, and things just kept happening. And here I am in country number 28. So this is how it started. I did not know what Bitcoin is. But now when you understand what Bitcoin is, what it's trying to solve, you just feel like, what can you do for Bitcoin, you know? I'm like, this is what I can do. I can share with people that Bitcoin is money. Yeah, this is good.
Yeah.
Like, you can share with people Bitcoin is money. How do you know Bitcoin is money? By using it by day to day. They say Bitcoiners are toxic maximalists. Okay, they are maximalist good. Toxic, why? Are they good? Yes, they're good people. I'm here in your house. I'm here with Gustavo. They hosted me. I'm going to be hosted in Puebla by somebody. I'm going to be hosted in Puerto Vallarta. So people are nice. They just want proof of work, not just numbers and just playing around in the crypto market. So that's the purpose of the journey, to share there is adoption of Bitcoin around the world.
And when I know that when you started the journey, the price was going up. So I guess it maybe was a bit more easy.
Yeah.
Because when you receive a donation, well, maybe a few days later or a few weeks later, it was going up in value. And I don't know up until when, which country it started falling down.
Yeah.
So that must have been like the opposite effect. And the journey must have been also more difficult. Can you tell us like the difference between traveling during bull market and bear market?
Bull market, people are really generous. Bitcoin price when I started was almost like $50,000, and it went up to like 65. So people were just like, yeah, Paco, here you go. 0.05, 0.1, 0.02, 0.01. Things were coming in. Everybody was very happy. Life was going good. But slowly and gradually it started trickling down. So slowly companies started backing out. People started going out. It went from 55, 45, 39, 30, 16,000 it went up to. I remember in South Africa, $16,000 was the least I remember. And I was like, dude,
16,000.
yeah.
That must be hard.
And I'm like, how will this thing continue? How will this thing continue? That's why I was unable to go that freely. That's why I was looking for people to host me in their houses. And that also gave me an insight into what people are, what the local people are doing, you know. But it got really difficult. I would just say it got really difficult. I remember one of our wonderful sponsors, Paxful, they had supported my journey for 2.5 months. And then they backed out too. And now here we see Paxful shut down business operations because of the rules and regulations happening in United States of America. But really shout out to Paxful for really coming through. And yeah, Bitrefill was the first one when I started my journey. So 0 to 6, the first 6 months, Bitrefill was a lead sponsor. So yeah.
And who you got in contact with?
Lawrence.
Lawrence, yeah.
It was nice. It was like, I remember I'd sold out my furniture, empty house. I'd send a message to Lawrence. Lawrence is like, let's jump on a call. And Lawrence got things flowing for me, and I was really grateful. I think so. I think so. I do not know how many people have tried Bitrefill in most of the countries. I think so I would be in the top list, unless it's your team that's traveling around in all the countries. But I've tried Bitrefill in almost 28 countries. One country I did not try DR Congo because you guys weren't available. So, in fact, I've tried in South Sudan, you guys weren't available. That's the funny thing. Sorry, not DR Congo.
South Sudan.
South Sudan, you guys weren't there.
Yeah.
And I was like...
we were there or
no, you guys weren't there.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. But that's the... But I really enjoyed Bitrefill, making it really easy. Like, here also you can buy Starbucks, Uber Eats. Yeah, so yeah.
And so... most of the business of Bitrefill is in Europe and in the United States, because also the infrastructure for gift cards is way more developed in those countries. So it's a challenge to offer a really good array of products in countries like in Africa and Latin America, because they don't have like the same infrastructure. But it's definitely a challenge that we're trying to work on and add more products in the other countries. But I'm curious, apart from Bitrefill, what are the other tools that you have used mostly? Your wallets, or perhaps P2P services? What are the most useful tools during your travels, to live on Bitcoin as much as possible, of course?
The funny thing is, the first 180 days of my journey, I was like almost 95% Bitcoin. I was like 95%. Like I would find somebody who would accept Bitcoin. But nonetheless, I used Bitrefill right at the top. Then there was Paxful I was using. They also had gift cards. There's another company called the Bitcoin Company where you can buy yourself Visa cards using Bitcoin. And I was using peer-to-peer network. So that means in my Bitcoin meetups, I used to end up finding people who would accept my Bitcoin and
they pay for you.
Yeah, and they would pay for me, or I would do a little P2P trade, because as I moved around Africa between the public transport, it was very difficult for me to find somebody to accept Bitcoin on a day-to-day basis, because people are really skeptic about it. And so I used to do a little peer-to-peer trade. So I used to host Bitcoin meetups. I've hosted about 82 meetups now. And in all those meetups, you end up finding people like, dude, I'm here today. You helped me out in booking the bus tickets, which was a big challenge. And you helped me do that. And I paid you right away, but you accepted on-chain though. That's the reality, guys. People love on-chain more than Lightning.
Yeah, we're more. I'm a old-fashioned guy. I've been Bitcoin class, old Bitcoin class.
That to the legacy wallet.
And what wallets did you use mostly? What do you like the most? What UX and UI you like the most?
I used Blue Wallet when I started, and then slowly I moved over to Moon Wallet and Wallet of Satoshi. I was using Samurai Wallet for the Whirlpool, because that's something similar to Wasabi Wallet. They do CoinJoin. I was using these wallets, and for Lightning, ZBD I tried, but it was every Lightning has been custodial. Then I moved over to Bitcoin Beach Wallet, which is now called Blink. Then Bitcoin Jungle Wallet. I think so I'm going to move away from Moon. I'm just going to be using Blue Wallet for on-chain. I like Blue Wallet for on-chain.
I like Blue Wallet.
I just do not know why I still love it. It became really slow in between. But this, and I wanted to try Phoenix, but I did not try Phoenix so far. I think so. I'll be sticking to Bitcoin Beach Wallet. That's the jungle. I like that UI UX of Bitcoin Jungle
Mhm.
Wallet, and Blue Wallet for on chain as of now. Moon, I love them, but I figured something out about Moon is they're doing submarine swaps, and I'm just like, hey, because I heard that it's like clogging the network, or it is like it's too much data that's been recorded by, and I'm like, that shouldn't be the case. But I'm not a techie, so I wouldn't say much. But there are multiple wallets. Just give it a try. There are multiple wallets out there.
And how about the people you're orange pilling on the way? Because that's another thing you do is
Yeah.
to try to force people to accept Bitcoin, which can be questionable, you know. But
Yeah.
I think most of the people will be glad to try new stuff, and maybe they won't use it afterwards, but at least they will have in their
Yeah.
mind, oh yeah, this Bitcoin thing. There's crazy Indian guy. He showed up in my store and wanted to pay me in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And so, what tool do you use? Do you use the same tool yourself that the one you propose to to newbies, or you use something else?
I've been using Wallet of Satoshi. So I was using Blue Wallet, the Lightning, a lot in the start. I think so I would have opened about 300, 400 of such wallets. I'm so sorry to those guys because the Lightning is shutting down.
Mm.
But now I'm recommending Wallet of Satoshi. I'm also recommending the Blink Wallet, which is easy. And if somebody knows a lot of, like, if I can see the guy is an engineer, he's an educated person, I would definitely ask them to jump onto the Moon Wallet, which makes it easier for people to adopt it.
Yeah.
So this is what I recommend people. And I like here also, yesterday we went and we found a torta on Bitcoin. And in San Miguel de Allende, we bought flowers on Bitcoin. People are curious about it.
Mhm.
People have heard about it. And that's why when you come down into their life, they are happy to try worth $3, $5, $10 worth of Bitcoin transaction, because they can risk that and they can be a part owner of that Bitcoin, which generally people don't ask, people don't care. It has just become like people don't even talk about Bitcoin, man. They just want themselves to make money, and they won't even ask others like, hey, do you accept Bitcoin or do you want Bitcoin? So this is what I try, and this is why I stay with local people, so that we can go together and try to buy something on Bitcoin.
And I'm curious, after traveling the whole world, how many people you think you orange pilled? Like you?
Wow. Oh my God. I think so. If given or take, let's say 15 people come over into my Bitcoin meetup, where I'm very toxic that time. So let's say about 1,500 people there, plus random people. I would have met, say, 3,000 odd people.
Wow. Are you tired of saying the same thing?
Oh
Or
my God.
you change your speech a little bit? Or?
I'm really happy for the Mexico tour, is because I do not need to explain what is Bitcoin, because I just need to talk about the Bitcoin adoption. So I do get tired, but I really enjoy the fact, like, for example, in San Miguel de Allende, everybody was old, they were like 50, 60 year old people. And I was so proud. I'm like, I was so happy to talk to them about the golden era. And it was the golden era for them. They could afford houses. They have like 2-3 houses, and they are here calling themselves artists.
Yeah.
And just having a good time. So it's nice to talk about Bitcoin. It gets the joy with the new crowd. But yeah, like it just gets sometimes too much. That's why this is the last year. This is it. I'm like heading there another 9 months.
Yeah, because like in the beginning of my Bitcoin journey as well, I was, every Uber I was going into, I was talking to the guy, talking about Bitcoin. And actually, if you're an honest guy and you're not a scammer, you're giving a service to those people, because perhaps it's the first time they hear about Bitcoin in a simple way, and they don't hear it on the news that it's a scam, or it burns the ocean, or some weird narrative about Bitcoin. But after a few years, it's like, okay, you're seeing the whole world and be like, okay, there's so much to do in order to orange pill everybody, like one by one. So you kind of get tired of it, and at some point you don't want to talk about Bitcoin to every Uber driver, right? So I don't know if that's something that you also share as a feeling.
Yeah.
Because you also told me in private, and perhaps that can be a scoop a little bit for Bitrefill, that the Bitcoin adoption isn't going that well. So here on the podcast, I would like to make it true, not just like marketing for marketing. So what is your real impression about Bitcoin adoption and around the world at the moment?
People love stability. That's why they get married. That's why they have government jobs, and that's why people love long contracts. And Bitcoin didn't provide that stability to many people during what I saw. In fact, you have been in this eco space for a long time, right? So you know that it goes up and down. I'm okay with that. And there is more adoption of stablecoin called USDT. People are more happy to use USDT rather than to use a Bitcoin. As you can see, like people are really happy because by the time I send you the money and you wait for the confirmations, it goes $1 up and down. And you don't want to lose out $1. Why do you want to lose $1 to a random stranger? And people, most of the Bitcoiners also I meet, they are more about hodlers. They love to hodl, and they would really love to hodl their Bitcoin rather than spend their Bitcoin. So how do you get Bitcoin adoption? And this is what I've noticed, and we are very early, man. Africa was like a big wake-up call. That's why I'm with you when you're going on the fast lane telling everyone Bitcoin, 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 but slowly you come to the middle lane and you just like little chilling out, and then you come to the last lane where you are just stay humble, stack sats. And that's where we are heading towards. That's a journey of every human in Bitcoin adoption. You cannot shove Bitcoin down people's throat. And even if, because for example, when I give Bitcoin to some people, let's say yesterday for the sandwich or day before yesterday for the tamale, I also tell them don't use it.
Yeah.
Don't spend it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like, how do you get it?
Keep
like,
it just in case.
Just keep it in case, So it is very early, guys. We are very early. I think so. We need another 100 Pacos running around. I would say we would need another 100 circular economies for Bitcoin adoption to start happening, because that is separation of state and money, and that's a big threat to the government, because government has power because of money. And people, they will not let go of that power that they have fought for so long in getting.
Yeah.
So we are very early, and if you look at all the Bitcoiners, 99% Bitcoiners are
Hodlers, yeah.
and there is that 1% on geyser fund, as they say, let the sats flow. So yes, let the sats flow, spend and stack. The ones who already have Bitcoin, please spend your sats and stack your sats back, because at the same price, right, at that very moment, let there be more flow of it. So,
or get paid in Bitcoin for your work, or that.
Yes.
For example, if you get paid in Bitcoin, I don't know if you encounter this kind of people around your journey, people getting paid for their services in Bitcoin. Also, if you can explain what is a circular economy for you. Perhaps the listeners won't exactly know.
Yeah.
Because Bitrefill also is interested in to make Bitcoin circular economies grow. So what's your definition of it, and which one is your favorite maybe?
Wow, my God, there are some about 7-8 circular economies in the world. That is, circular economy means where people are using Bitcoin for their day-to-day life. That means if I want to go to the barber, I'll use Bitcoin, pay him in Bitcoin. And the barber, when he goes to buy a cup of coffee, he pays in Bitcoin. When the coffee guy wants to buy milk, he pays in Bitcoin. So it's a circular economy. That means we are using Bitcoin. There are multiple such economies around the world. El Salvador was the first one to begin with. There is one happening in Guatemala, another one in Brazil, another one in Costa Rica, one in Ikasi, that's in South Africa, one in Senegal is happening, one is happening in Philippines. So everybody is trying their best to have a circular economy. I heard Mexico is going to have a circular economy in Cisal. That's in the south of Mexico. It's a very big challenge. It's not a 1-day process or a 6-month process. It's a 3-year process.
At least.
Because you need to slowly and gradually get people onboarded, educate them rather than just use it as a payment method. I am really happy for the Costa Rican and the Brazilian so far. Yes, El Salvador's adoption of Bitcoin was because of the circular economy, I feel. Because circular economy was an example that yes, it is possible. And I'm really excited for what Brazil is going to bring, because Brazil has 200 million people. Just imagine 200 million people.
That's huge.
50 million people end up buying Bitcoin. Dude. We are very early, guys. I feel like, so these circular economies are a big welcome message. And Bitrefill supports a lot of these economies, so I'm really grateful for that. Bitrefill supports Bitcoin Ikasi, that's in South Africa. That's like, I won't call it a slum, I call it a township. In a township, they are using it for their day-to-day activities. Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is moving around. We can buy petrol with Bitrefill. So yeah, this is happening around the world. Please go have a look, see how people are using Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is a hard money. This is the big message. It is hard money. Yes, you have your Ethereums, your Lunas. It's okay. Gamble. If you want to gamble, it's your life. Gamble. I'm no one to tell you. But start seeing your net worth in Bitcoin. That's my advice. Yeah.
I see. Well, maybe we can touch on the point, because Bitrefill always has been like a company involved in Bitcoin. We were one of the first company adopting a Lightning Network. So obviously it's a big focus for the company. But as you said, you have observed more adoption coming, for example, on the USDT stablecoin side, maybe other cryptos, maybe other communities. And of course, because we're in the Bitcoin community and the Bitcoin ecosystem, Bitrefill sometimes gets backlash from Bitcoiners because we accept Ethereum or stablecoins, right? So, I mean, coming from a Bitcoin maximalist point of view, I kind of understand, but also because we're helping so much people and people using stablecoins are helping themselves. What's your response to that?
I mean, it's a marketplace and you are running a business. And if you're running a business, you see there is a market opportunity, you're making money there. You are at the end of the day providing another form of payment. It's equivalent to we started from stones, then why are we using gold? We went from gold to paper money to credit cards to digital money. Digital money, tomorrow there will be CBDC. And it's a way of payment. There will be let's say out of 100 million population, 90 million people are on CBDC. Won't you accept CBDC? Because you have a marketplace. It's practically like an Amazon. Tomorrow Amazon accepts 7 things. They will be happy about it. And I think so it is because you're running a business, and I totally get it. And you yourself are a part of adoption in this entire level. You are providing us a platform where we can use our digital currency, which we couldn't use it before. Before it was just used for peer-to-peer or sending or converting it on ramp, off ramp. So I'm really happy that you guys are using it, and it's okay. It's all good because you are providing something that other person isn't providing. Is there any alternative to us? That's it. So I'm okay with it, man. I'm really grateful that there is such platform that is pro Bitcoin compared to all of the other things. So all is well, man.
And maybe just let's close the subject of circular economies. What do you think are the most important factors for one circular economy to grow and thrive and work? Because perhaps there was some tries to make circular economies before, but it didn't work for, maybe it was too early, maybe there was not the right combination of people. What do you think it takes to make a community works like that?
Definitely the step one is the person is staying there. He's in love with that place. He won't leave that place. The person who's starting it or the group of people who are starting it, you are staying there. You're not there just for a vacation and you walk in and like, oh my God, I love this place. Let's start it here. This is not one of your girlfriends. So you need to be in love with that place. 1, 2, have liquidity. Have a lot of liquidity, because tomorrow if somebody wants to convert their Bitcoin to cash, you need to be there.
Yeah.
And slowly and gradually you need to get people on board. So have somebody, delegation of your thing. Delegation, that you're delegating work around and you're getting people to understand Bitcoin. Because Bitcoin adoption is more of a personal effort right now, where you talk to somebody face to face, not just sitting on Twitter and being a keyboard warrior and shouting hodl. You're going out there, you're talking to people. If you don't want to do that, don't do it. It's okay. It's everything is okay. We all are Bitcoiners. We all are from the same place. But if you want to do this, these are the step 1. 1, you are staying there. You want to stay there. And 2, you have a lot of liquidity. And 3, you have people supporting you, because from 1 becomes 2, from 2 becomes 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 16, and so on and so forth. And you have to keep putting in efforts and count on the bull run. Please, the bull runs are necessary.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the liquidity. I was pretty sure you're going to mention it.
Yeah.
Because with Bitrefill, we visited the one in Costa Rica together. There's like a market where you can buy different stuff, different substances. we won't name them. And the guy that I forgot the name of the founder with the beard.
Hans is one of the founders. Richard is another one. And the third one, the main guy.
I think
he moves around. Yeah, I forgot his name.
He was telling us, like, the first thing he was telling people is like, if somebody pays you in Bitcoin, at the end of the market, don't worry, come to me. I will exchange it back to, I think it's Colones in Costa Rica. And people are like, okay, well, I have nothing to lose. If I accept it and he just give it back to me for the equivalent in fiat, well, there's like no point why I wouldn't,
Exactly.
right? And he told like, oh yeah, in the beginning, every people was exchanging 100% of the Bitcoins they receive that day for fiat. But then, as they learn about it, Bitcoiners are coming, talking about Bitcoin, having fun, paying whatever. So, okay, maybe this time I will keep 20% of the Bitcoin, and slowly, gradually, maybe 50% and then 80, or sometimes they need more money, they exchange it. But now most of them might keep it for investment purposes because it's hard money for. So I think, it's like a process. You come in and you're like, you have nothing to lose. You just accept it. I can exchange to you. I can exchange it to you for fiat, no problem. But slowly, people are like, oh, okay, that's cool. I think that's the right process. Not forcing, like, oh yeah, keep it. And
that's really good. Like I'm really, that's what I learned from that place. Liquidity is very important. Education, then only education comes. See, if I give you, let's say, 1 million sats now, and you will have 1 million. Then only you will think like, okay, I have something. Let me learn about it. Let me learn about it.
Yeah.
Rather than just following the news. If you don't have it, you will not even out of sight, out of mind, right?
Yeah.
And this is something that is happening, and people are taking steps. I've heard there's a community starting in Cameroon. I've heard 3 other communities have started in South Africa. So in South Africa, that belt is going to become a very strong economy.
Interesting.
So it is happening slowly, gradually, then suddenly.
So I think you're going to have a lot to say about that. So most of the circular economies, well, actually, all of them are in the global south. So because there's a need for a better form of money. I remember when I was in Canada organizing the meetups, the only real aspect of Bitcoin we were talking about was the investment aspect.
Yes.
The scarcity, the fact there's only 21 million, you should hold it. Nobody was really talking about spending it. Yeah, sometimes you pay with Bitcoin for fun, but not in the mentality of using it in everyday life. But in the South, like in Costa Rica, El Salvador, there are some clear use cases to use Bitcoin every day, because people don't have access to banks the same way. Even if they can withdraw money, sometimes they have to take a bus really far to, it's a long process just to have access to money. So Bitcoin makes sense there. And in Africa, as you're saying, Cameroon, South Africa, like a lot of community forming there. And your trip is in the global south. You didn't visit so far countries considered in the
privileged.
Western world, privileged. Why? Why you decided to go to those parts of the world? And
I really felt like I'll add the point. Yes, that's true. People do not have access to the financial rails. That means to send money, and this is what I felt. And why I chose Global South was because of my hunger to know these places. So it's like a win-win. Like I wanted to know why they are not out there as strong as United States of America. Why USA is 1 and Costa Rica Colones is 7, for example. Why is 1 there and 80 rupees? And why is it 1 is to 200, 1 is to 10,000, 1 is to 500? Why? And I was like, let me just go down there. And when you go down there, you understand they do not have access to the global system. People are unbanked. They are on mobile money.
Yeah.
They are on mobile money is as such, like I would say Africa is a step ahead of Mexico. Because Africa, anybody sitting in a jungle right now with even 1 bar of network and that old Nokia 1100, that brick phone can send money.
Yeah.
I know it is centralized. I know it is controlled by someone, but the person can send money. 90% of the people don't have banks. They do not have banks. This is the reason why Zimbabwe also collapsed. The Zimbabwe has had trillions of dollars, right? This is because they were banished out from the SWIFT. Now, when you cannot move money, that means how do you move value? Money is value, right? I did some work for you.
It's work, yeah.
And you were getting paid for it digitally. Money is moving. Value is moving. This is how we are in today's world. That's why we send WhatsApp messages. That's why we send photos. And in the global south, I saw the need for it. Like, let's say all the content that is there is in English. the America, Canada, Europe, they have access to something called as a stable currency, which is now attacked by inflation, but they are very strong that way. But the global south is just getting hit by inflation and devaluation. So I'm like, okay, let's say Bitcoin is for everyone. Bitcoin fixes this. Let's just go and see if does Bitcoin fix all of these things. And my friend, I think so it will take 30, 40 years before Bitcoin fixes all of these things. I am saying this straight up. Before I was saying like it will take 10, 15, 20 years, but I said 30, 40 years.
Maybe even more.
Yeah, and then it's like, because it's going to be a real battle between who survives. They're already launched CBDC, so it's always there. But Global South needed it, and Global South would be the reason of the real use case of Bitcoin. As you say, we use it more for investment. So it's not just for investment for them. It is for them to send money. I'll tell you, in Costa Rica, I paid almost 10% premium, $5 fee, and $2 the blockchain fee. I paid a premium on buying some Bitcoin. And I asked the guy, I'm like, why is it so expensive? And the guy said, brother, it is cheaper than Western Union. Many people use my ATM because it's cheaper than Western Union to send money abroad. And I was like, wow. That's it. You want freedom of sending money. You do not have that anymore. Yeah. And the Global South needs it. As you can see how people are just like paying and paying it. People can't save anymore. We can't save money anymore. We can't send money. Then what are we doing with our life? Just working and working. So yeah, that was the major purpose of the Global South for me.
That's really cool. I also really fascinated by the potential of the Global South. As I said, that's one of the reasons why I live in Mexico. And one thing that interests me is the situation in Western Africa, where there's a lot of French-speaking countries, and they have the currency made by France. I'm pretty sure you know about it, the CFA franc. And that's a really scammy story, coming from France. So I would like to see movement about Bitcoin, in Senegal, and I think Cameroon is
countries.
using 14 countries, like 200,000.
200 million people.
200 million people, using the CFA. So
wow.
I think that could be interesting. Maybe I join you in Africa one day. So. We're on country 28, Mexico. How do you like Mexico?
Mexico has been good. Mexico has been really great. I feel really like this is, as they say, Mexico is much more closer to United States than to God. And you can see the trickles of the first world here. So I think so Mexico would be the first one to be much, because Mexico provides for United States of America, I think so.
Well, it's becoming a huge powerhouse for all the manufacturing. A lot of companies are moving from China to Mexico, and so there is a good prediction about the future of Mexico. Yeah.
So I'm really bullish on Mexico, and I think so Mexico would adopt Bitcoin as one of the payment rails, not as a currency, but as a payment rail. Like, yes, you can send money.
Remittance, maybe.
Remittance, yes, as a remittance. That's what I hope from Mexico, at least.
Yeah, because when people ask me like how's Bitcoin adoption in Mexico, I say to them like it's a really weird position because the peso is pretty strong actually. Over the last 2 years, it outperformed the Canadian dollar, the British pound, the euro. Like it went 20% up, you know, in terms of the other really good fiat currencies, you know. And also people have they don't have problems with banks here. Everybody has a bank. It's not like, you know, in Africa or so it's a weird situation because they don't have the immediate need to use Bitcoin right now, but there's definitely this use case of remittances because there's like 50 million Latinos living in the US sending billions of dollars to Mexico to whole Latin America, but you know, lots of money here and lots of fees to be saved with Bitcoin.
True, very true. I'm with you on that.
So maybe you can just tell about the journey in Mexico for those that are gonna listen. And so
we did San Miguel de Allende. Today we are doing a Querétaro Bitcoin meetup. Then we'll be heading over to Mexico City.
Can you say the dates as well?
Okay, so Querétaro meetup is on the 11th. Ciudad de Mexico, the capital city, is on the 13th. 18th is Puebla. 20th is Guadalajara. 24th is Puerto Vallarta.
Yeah.
and 28th to 30th I am in Merida, Sisal. So if you are out there, it's called Pueblo Mágico. So if you're out there, come down there, and if not, then we are in Cancun. No, Tulum.
Tulum.
Yeah, Tulum. Tulum also we'll be out there talking about how Bitcoin is used and not other currencies. So yeah, you're most welcome. That's around the first week of May, and that's it.
Yeah, we'll add the exact information anyways. So for those who are in Mexico or maybe willing to do a weekend trip, because Mexico City and Texas, Miami, it's really close. It's like 2-hour flight.
Yeah.
Really good connection. So we're gonna
over.
try to make to put Mexico on the map for that. And after that, what you have 12 countries left. What is the rest of the plan?
I'm gonna be going to the Miami Bitcoin conference. So that's
you're a speaker.
Yeah,
congrats.
so thanks, Lord. Yeah, you made it. After that, I'll be doing the Caribbean. So I've heard about the Cuba underground community of Bitcoiners. So we'll be doing Cuba, Dominican Republic, Jamaica, Trinidad, Haiti. So we'll be doing like 5 countries out there, and then come over into Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, figure this out, Panama, and ended off with Venezuela. We want to know what's happening there. Paraguay, Uruguay. These are the places that you will not hear about from other Bitcoiners as such. So I just want to pick those places. This is why I pick up these places, because this will be a starting point for other Bitcoiners who are going to come in the next bull run. Next bull run, we're going to have another 1 million people joining the force. So it's just like that. Just find out details to give them. And so that's the plan for the next 12 countries.
I also believe like expats and digital nomads are gonna also grow as a type of population, and Bitcoin is definitely really good tool for that. Bitrefill too, to travel.
Yeah, definitely.
Using Airbnb, hotel.com, everything.
Yes.
So definitely cool. You're going on the way. So I didn't want to take too much of your time.
Yes.
So maybe one last question. Once you're done with your tour, do you have a plan, or are you planning another tour already, or is it a secret you don't really know? What do you think you're gonna do?
I'm gonna finish off the tour in the end of this year, and then gonna take a little break for like a couple of months, because too much talking about Bitcoin can be harmful. It is possible. We'll be releasing a documentary of all of the 40 countries out there. So combine all of this, get a screenwriter, combine it, everything, and have a great package out there of what is Bitcoin adoption around the world. Have that. And then I would really love to join a Bitcoin company and work from the back end and try to support the Bitcoin adoption in the countries, because I love operations and I love connecting with people. I love connecting people, and I know a lot of people around the world now. So just connect these dots and see how we can have a node running in all of these parts of the world. So yeah.
That's crazy. I think you will definitely be a good hire, considering that you will probably be the most traveled Bitcoiner around the world and that visited so many places testing underground.
Yeah.
So I think you're not gonna have a problem finding something.
I hope so, man. Fingers crossed.
So I don't know. Last thoughts, maybe nice sentence, or just a quote.
Oh my God. I really love this quote. It says it's by Mark Twain, and he says, if you don't follow news, you're uninformed. But if you follow news, you are misinformed. So there's a lot of noise out there. They talk all the time shit about Bitcoin. So just take a step back, zoom out and read a little bit about Bitcoin. There are podcasts. Listen to podcasts, see why people are still so bullish on it. And just start asking questions. Because there are by the time you see, there'll be 25,000 coins, 50,000 coins, 1 million coins out there. So just see why Bitcoin. Just like step out. There is various resources all available for free. So yeah, that's all I would say. Just read about it. Study Bitcoin.
Perfect. That was Paco de la India in the middle of Mexico.
Yes.
Bitcoin makes us do crazy things. So thank you for
Thank you so much, brother.
Having you on the podcast. And I'm hoping that the rest of the journey will be safe and great for you.
Thank you so much, man. Peace
Thank
out.
you.
Ciao.